All right, guys. So, little overview I thought would be good today. So, I like to meditate walking in the woods. So, I consider it like wisdom from the woods. So, I sort of been calling this little daily, was 10 minutes. Now it's kind of really 15 minutes. I try to really keep it at 15. It's amazing that I thought I would have nothing to say day after day. I'd never dreamt I'd be going this many days. I'm on like 58. It's not really that long. I've made videos before, but I just sort of threw them on my little YouTube channel with no subscribers and did nothing with them, just as a place to hold them, and thought, maybe my grandkids one day would say, oh yeah, Poppy was into spirituality and that was important to him. I don't know. But I have always been interested in spirituality and trying to figure out how things work. And really, most importantly, reprogramming. When they said to me when I was, like 40 years ago, when they said, oh, thoughts are things. I'm like, thoughts are things. So what I'm thinking creates? It's like, oh, to think about something is a very powerful creator. To speak about it's even more powerful a creator. To act on it is even more powerful a creator. To feel that it's already done. If you can do that, then that's the faith of a mustard seed. You can move a mountain. And I'm like, that's what Jesus said. He talked about that. So you're telling me this is the ticket? This is how to do the miracles that Jesus did? I don't hear anybody else ever saying that. But that's it. That's all it is. You've got to feel and own the fact that you already know it's happening. Now, that's hard to own based on what you see the world doing. The world looks like, it's someone else is in control of everything. Not me, not us, not the collective consciousness, not the culmination of all life on the planet. That's not causing it. It's, anyway, we won't get into that too much, but those are important points that I feel like you need to sort of be reprogramming your brain about, because it doesn't naturally come out to, be cautious and correcting on your thinking. So I started with an overview, and I want to go back to this overview. There's some people on Facebook that I'm in a group with, like spirituality groups, that are catching some of these videos now, and they don't know who I am and they don't know what I'm doing. And anyway, so I'm a business owner. And I've owned businesses all my life. I've worked for myself all my life, which is kind of unusual, starting with delivering newspapers at 11 years old. And I had a bunch of businesses, a few businesses going. I've had some collapse. I've made money. I've lost everything a few times. Started with nothing, and, still don't have a lot. But you get a business machine going, and that's always helpful. So my kids decided, I got 4 kids, they decided to get involved with the business as they graduated school, or some didn't go to school, and they're good at it and they like it. And it's like teaching somebody to drive a car. There's a lot to sort of tell, but at the same time, you're like, at some point you just gotta get out of the driver's seat and let them drive. You're either driving and you know how to drive, or you're not driving and you don't know how to drive. So until the driver gets out of the driver's seat, no one else can be driving, because there's just no, you can figure all that out. So I had to get out, and I feel like I jumped from a moving car. It wasn't like, oh, here's our plan, you're gonna buy the business from me. It doesn't make enough money to buy the business from me anyway, but it's like, can you give me a little bit of money, and can I jump out? And so then I jumped out and I sort of worked on another business, and then I sort of jumped out from that and I worked on another business, and I've dwindled down now. And the other key point, which I think is important to note to this audience, is that I had always been into spirituality. I was really deep into the New Age group, like in the early 80s. And all that stuff, born and raised Catholic. Then I got really into the New Age stuff. Then my kids were grown and are born, and I got back into the Catholic Church, and we sort of doubled down on that. My wife was Lutheran. We got involved with that for a while. So I've dabbled around in a lot of things and always studied about other religions, and really, though, wanted to know this stuff. Spirituality, they didn't really sort of differentiate it so much before, but I think it's really come to that time. It's like, this is spirituality, which has nothing to do with faith and churches and beliefs. Beliefs are like anchors, and you got to carry this thing around and identify it to everyone. This is, I got the same anchor you have. Great. But anyway, so it's a journey. Spirituality is a one-man journey, and anyway, so It's a solo act. And all right, so what was I going to say about that? My next point. So then I was making, when I was doing my walks and stuff like that, I found that when I was like really tuned in, tapped in, turned on, I've been sort of meditating, and then I'm walking and I'm trying to stay meditative, and I'm taking the whole day, and I'm really opened up my whole schedule. And so am I retired? Not really. I don't really have, I still got a machine that's running out there. If the machine gets a hiccup, I'm in trouble. So fortunately, I just keep tabs on a few things, and the kids are doing great, and everything's moving along okay until this coronavirus came, and now I'm hemorrhaging money in every business. But government gave me a little assistance, and you're just like, all right, luckily I'm on this spiritual journey. So about a year ago, I really doubled down, and I said, that's it. I'm not I literally, all my meditations where I envisioned myself sitting on my hands. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm not getting up. I'm not going to grab. And then I was like, I'll get involved with the businesses a little bit, but I'll never have tools. I'll never do anything. And that dwindled down. And so anyway, so right now I'm really doubled down on my spirituality and the connectedness to the light of divinity, to the God source, to infinite intelligence, unconditional love. I call it tuned in, tapped in, turned on. Not my original term, but I love it. And tuned in, tapped in, turned on has been really pretty spectacular, but you're not always there. And really the contrast of sometimes, I don't know, I've gotten really sensitive, and sensitive is not really my strong suit. I'm a sensitive person, but sensitive when you get to this point, and weakness or things like that, softness, that all kind of goes together. When you're running your own business, it's not about, being soft. So I don't know if that made any sense to anybody, but anyway, it's tricky. It has not been an easy ride. Last year, I actually was like physically, I used to race mountain bikes the year before. I had to stop. I couldn't race, couldn't train. Not that it wore me out. And it wasn't like I was pushing myself, but I just wanted to be out in the woods, be alone. I just want to be alone. I want to be alone. And I just was sucked out into the woods. And I'm not really a woodsy guy. I grew up in the city. But anyway, every day in the woods. So nature somewhere, but not around people. So I'm by myself all the time. Well, my wife and kids, I've got lots of other social interactions. I'm really not, I'm pulling away from my time by myself, let's say that. So then so I made some videos along the way about some things that, when I felt really tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and the inspiration was really flowing, I would put together a short video, which really was just like me talking to myself. And it was very therapeutic to be talking to myself. And sometimes I found I'd be walking through trails, and if I bump into people or whatever, I'd have my headphones in and my phone like I'm talking to somebody, and I'd just keep talking to myself. And then I found like my parents have passed, my dad could come into my mind, and I would just talk like I'm talking to him. And you just start rolling and, whatever. So you get a sense of what channeling could be like and stuff like that. It never was really my thing to like just double down and regurgitate stuff that I haven't processed. I'm really much more about talking about what I've integrated. Nothing that I'm talking about here I haven't either fully or mostly integrated. That's who I am, which makes it easy to talk about it, because it's like I don't have to think about this stuff. I just think of an analogy to explain a informational, vibrational download of intelligence. If that makes any sense. So fast forward to now, the coronavirus comes, and I'm always thinking like, oh, I'm going to be helpful to people. But I really knew for the last year or so, I'm just working on myself. I'm just going to keep going. And I would think like, I got to do. And that sense of sitting on my hands and not trying to be a doer kept me from like really getting too involved in actually helping people. Not that I had somebody struggling around me and I abandoned them, but I'd go to my employees and family and things like that and try to be helpful and inspirational and whatever else. But I just knew I had a feeling for a bigger picture of how to help, and not really sure what that. I thought I maybe would meet with people and do some counseling or things like that. I've done some of that when I was involved with the church before, some speaking, so I thought maybe I would do more of that. But anyway, just kept getting pulled into the by myself in the woods. And then the coronavirus comes, and then I felt like I should be inspirational. And so I hadn't posted in years, and I posted a video on Facebook, and I decided I'd post one the next day. And it was really, that was like the third week in. and it was getting a little bit hairy, people were pretty stressed out. So I was like, just stay the course. So I've been pretty good at being able to not pay attention to the hemorrhaging of the losses in my business, and just ride on and hold the paradigm that the collective consciousness, the all-knowing, loving God source energy, which is really who I am, the non-physical part of myself, has got this. And I'm talking about things that you're trying to integrate. This whole concept, I'm definitely not as far as you can go, but this whole concept I think gets a little bit of a taboo or something like that, is this manifestation or power of positive thinking or any of those types of things. But remember I'd said, 40 years ago I was really I had a teacher when I was taking some classes in the New Age arena, and she always would say that, thoughts are things, and she didn't go too much further with it than that, but you knew that was really that was pivotal thing, that you really have to integrate that what you think about is what flares up. Everything's out there to be interpreted a million different ways, and if you're in a fear vibration, you're going to see the fearful things, and it's going to feel fearful, and you're going to attract people who are fearful. And when you are around other people and the news and television and whatever else, all those things around us are subject to our vibration. And we know this scientifically now. We know that when I'm thinking, I'm affecting the brains and working through and with the brains of everyone around me and all the blank space between us, and it's just a big energy ball around us. We have huge influence, and we're all connected, and we're all one, and all that type of stuff. Science has that all down, but it's integrating it into society is really tricky. People want to be very much about, facts and figures, which is why the spiritual people say, don't label things. Don't put names on things. The last thing they would say is, put the mugshot up of the coronavirus, put his name underneath, and make sure everybody knows this guy. You'll never see him, but here's who he is. And here's what he's doing to people. Let me tell you some of the nasty things this guy has done. That's not the spiritual journey. You want to only deal with what's in your actual moment. In my moment, I do not have a virus attacking me. And if I do, I'm going to relax and let my body do what it knows how to do. Not, we won't go into all that. So anyway, I've been going now where I think I maybe said this on 58 days of these little, they were kind of 10 minutes, they've grown to 15 minutes, which kind of surprises me because I thought I'd run out of things to say. But anyway, so 58 days, it's been good. It's been good for me, which is really what it's all about. I've gotten a little bit clearer about some of these examples, all these things I've talked about or thought about before, but they're examples I use to sort of keep myself focusing, on the positive things that are going on around me. What do I want to see happen, regardless of the data that the world is showing me? What's my little tunnel of love that I see coming my way? And how am I helping that to happen for others and all that type of stuff? So they've just been, beneficial for me to be sharing them. And what else did I want to say about that? I don't know. Maybe that's about it. It's 14 minutes, so I'm really ready for wrap up. So wrap up would be, I appreciate people watching. Hopefully it's beneficial to people. I know I didn't give you any juicy stuff today, but I just thought a little bit of a recap was kind of good to figure out who I was and what I was talking about. And I threw some stuff out at you. I don't know if it all came together. But a couple other things. I talk about wisdom of the woods. And I like to talk about being tuned in, tapped in, turned on, focusing on your breath. I like to envision breathing in the perfection of everything around you. That's the term I've used for myself. It's just like breathing in the perfection of everything around you. A lot of people are nowhere near perfection. It's like maybe things are just not as bad as you think. Maybe things are just okay. Maybe things are, for our own good. It's like a lot of bad things you could put under the umbrella. Well, it's for your own good. I call it perfect. The perfection of everything around you is what I'm trying to breathe in, and just let that be. And, the importance of breath, meditation time, but meditation is a small portion of your day. I do that a couple times a day, you know, not very long, where I want to just sit and just focusing on meditation, which means I'm just getting in tune with my body. I'm trying to relax my body, but I'm trying to carry that now throughout my day. Being aware of my breath, you know, when I'm listening to people, when you listen to people, it's like it gets you to back off a little bit. I'm not trying to think of my story. I'm trying to breathe in what you're sharing. It's a good time. It's a good time to sort of get focused. Like I'm meditating, but I'm listening to you. And anyway, so it's a million tricks. We're going to share them all. I'm going to keep going every day, 15 minutes, and we'll see where this thing goes. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow.